How do I get product reviews for my new private label product? What are Amazon's rules involving product reviews? Can I still do giveaways? We will answer these questions and more in this episode of the Amazon Seller Podcast.
This is the Amazon Seller Podcast, hosted by multi-million-dollar Amazon sellers helping you launch your private label business to the next level. Find us on amazingfreedom.com or subscribe to this podcast on iTunes and YouTube.
Welcome to another episode of the Amazon Seller Podcast. We have a really exciting topic today where we are going to be talking about how to get product reviews in a non-incentivized world. But before we get into that, I want to announce something really exciting. Andy Slammons, Lee Ron, and myself have finished putting together a free private label course called the Smart Private Label Course. Yes, it's free. This 7-part course is just what you need if you have been thinking about building a private label brand or if you are struggling to make things happen. The Smart Private Label course goes through how to select private label products, how to manufacture your products with suppliers, how to get amazing listings and photos and keywords to get ready for launching your product, how to rank your product on Amazon, and how to take your product to the first page of search. Just visit amazingfreedom.com and you will see a button allowing you to register for the free course. You're going to want to go ahead and do that as soon as you can. So like I mentioned, today we're going to be talking about product reviews, what Amazon's rules are involving product reviews, and some of the things that you can do to generate reviews for your products. This is super important and a topic that we should all be interested in, right? Something that we should all be aware of and something that we should constantly be looking to get more information on. All right, so Andy, getting product reviews in the past for your private label products wasn't that difficult, right? There was basically a process that we all followed, and really, it was just a matter of paying some money out and you were able to get product reviews. However, Amazon kind of cracked down on things and that all changed. Can you kind of go through the history of product reviews the last couple of years and really what Amazon changed and what the reasoning was behind that?
Sure. So if you shop on Amazon, you know how important reviews are. And, when Amazon began their platform, they used this metric of customer reviews, I think, as a genius way to really widen their reach to customers. And so, what's happening now as customers, right? A lot of times in the past, customers would rely on basically propaganda from big brands, which a lot of people still do, like Nike or maybe Coca-Cola. And so, but what's happened is I think shoppers have become smarter. And so instead of relying on those commercials, from those big brands, they actually rely on their peers for understanding if a product is functional, understanding if a product is good. And I think Amazon captured that early on and is one of the driving forces of why Amazon grew so much. And so reviews early on for Amazon products were really meaningful. And they really helped shoppers and customers like you and I. But unfortunately, what started to happen is sellers started to game the system. And so sellers would bring new products to the Amazon marketplace, and they basically would get fake reviews for their products. And so you can give away products through using Amazon promo codes, and then those folks who receive those free products would leave they would leave basically fake reviews to make it seem like this seller's new product was like a awesome product, right? And so Amazon caught on to that. And even as shoppers, customers, we started to catch on to it. And I'm a big Amazon shopper. I buy the majority of my products from Amazon. But it started to become frustrating for me because I would go to buy a product and I would have to literally filter through the reviews to see which ones were real and which ones were fake. And so Amazon did a few things. They noticed that this was happening. So Amazon, they started to basically segue the reviews. And so one of the reviews is a verified review. Another review is an unverified. So a verified review means that the customer paid full price, right, for that product. So if you see verified review, you know that that customer is a genuine customer. And so that's one of the first things Amazon did. And then just about 5-6 months ago, Amazon even made a more dramatic shift. They said, as sellers, when we give away products, we are not allowed to ask for reviews on those products, which I think was a great move on their part, because it just gives the reviews a lot more weight on those products.
So walk me through the actual process before, right? For maybe a new private label seller who's new to selling in 2017, they might not even be real familiar with the current terms of service of Amazon, or what sellers were doing in the past. So just walk me through kind of like, you sourced a new product, you're going to bring it to the marketplace. What was the strategy at that time, the step-by-step strategy you would do to get those reviews?
So basically, a lot of the larger sellers who had a lot of capital, they could go in, create 200 promo codes, go to a review deals group, and basically disseminate those 200 promo codes to their review group. And out of those 200 they gave away, they would probably get about 130, 140 reviews. And so that was traditionally, that was the old way that sellers did it.
Okay. And at that time, you were still supposed to put, or the reviewer, the shopper who had bought the product was still supposed to put in the review something like, I received this review at a discount in exchange for my honest review, right? That was kind of the terminology that was used in all of the reviews. And that's how you, as a shopper, you personally, Andy, you would kind of go and look for those reviews, right, that had that terminology to see if it was a review that was just an organic review or one given in exchange. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that was I think that was Amazon's initial half-baked effort to try to differentiate their reviews, right? By having that reviewer that received that full free promo, leave that in the review. And so that was kind of like their first effort to try to clean up the reviews.
Okay. And so like Andy mentioned, that has been done away with. Amazon said no more reviews in exchange for a discount, or no more requiring a review. At least someone who receives a discounted product, are they still allowed to leave a review, or is it just that they can't be asked for one?
So they can still leave a review. However, as a seller, you are not allowed in any way, shape, or form to ask them for a review.
Okay. And so that's important, I think, for our listeners, because, some people who are just starting out with private label might be just, have good intentions and just might not be aware of these rules, right? It would seem common. If I just started, I would probably kind of think that would just be a normal thing you would do, maybe ask someone to leave you a review. But it's important for new sellers, for all private label sellers, to know those rules, to be familiar with the Amazon terms of service, and know that you can still give products away at a discount. You can still try to get reviews for your product. You just can't require a review in exchange for a discount. So Liron, the old ways are done away with, as far as how people would give away a massive amount of discounts in exchange for product reviews. I think the question on everyone's mind now is, what do I do to get reviews for a new private label product? It's just harder, right? What do I do?
Sure. So there are different strategies that people are now using to get reviews. So the first thing, obviously, in order to generate reviews, you need to generate sales, right? So you could do that through different mediums. There are still sites that you can use to do product giveaways, sites like Snagshots and sites like JumpSend, where you can post like a deal, and customers can buy that. The caveat is that those sites no longer require the customers to leave a review. So you can get reviews that way. There'll be unverified purchases. I generally don't follow up in an email sequence with those customers asking for a review, just because Amazon has been, I feel like, going after that lately, even though technically, according to the terms of service, you're asking for the review after they buy, and it would seem to be okay. Amazon's been sort of going after people for that. So I'm not emailing asking for a review for those customers. I set a filter in Feedback Genius to not send those customers an email. But if you give away enough units, you're going to get a percentage of customers that leave reviews. Those customers tend to leave, I find, reviews at a higher percentage than your typical Amazon customer, only because they were customers that had to leave reviews in the old system, sort of. So they're sort of used to leaving reviews. So I would say, somewhere between 5 to 10% review rate is what you're probably going to get. So if you give away, 25, 50 units of a product, you're probably going to get at least some initial reviews. Now, if those reviews are good, then you can start moving on to other ways to market your products, like PPC, generating sales. You can also lower your price to generate sales. So you need to really think about, how am I going to drive some velocity in order to get my initial reviews. So
now, let me ask you a question, Liron. So you're talking about some of these services that are still available that will help you basically get your product into the hands of potential buyers because they're looking for these deals, right, where you can give them away at a discount. So you mentioned that, in the past, many of these services required the buyer to leave a review. And so at that time, the review rate or the rate that those customers would leave a review was very high, right?
Right.
So since that time, that probably has gone down quite dramatically just because they're not required at this point. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
So 5 to 10% now, before might have been more like 70, 80, 90%.
Right. But those customers still kind of see themselves as product testers. So they do tend to leave reviews more than your average Amazon customer. But again, they don't have to anymore, and they know that. They no longer put that disclaimer. I was given this product in exchange for a review. So they know the new rules. But you will get some reviews if you do a giveaway. Again, I don't follow up asking for a review, but I've gotten my initial reviews that way. And then I move on to other ways. So, for example, you can lower the price of your product to get those initial sales and do PPC. You can also do a lightning deal. Now, what I've found, and then follow up with those customers. I do follow up with customers on a lightning deal, because usually it's 25 to 35% off or so that I do my lightning deals, and I'll follow up so you can generate some sales that way. I have seen Amazon for some lightning deals, the reviews are now showing up as unverified for my lightning deals recently. But again, you're still getting reviews, and so it's a big difference if somebody's looking for your product and sees 5, and a 4.5 stars, reviews, even though down below they're unverified. That makes a big difference of whether somebody's even going to click and look at your, page listing itself among everything that surrounds you.
And can you just explain to us, in your opinion, why that's so important? Like, not just for Amazon search ranking matters. Why, from the customer standpoint, is it important to have a couple, good customer or product reviews?
Yeah, sure. So, it's I would call it social proof, right? So customers on Amazon want to see that other customers have bought this product before and have been happy. Even if you have, I have one product right now that has 5-star reviews. They're all unverified, and I'm getting regular daily sales of that product, not through giveaways or anything else, just regular sales through organic, people finding it organically and through PPC. And I think that 5 stars shows customers that social proof. And when they read the reviews, they can see that it is people that actually have the product. They've seen it, they looked at it, they describe it. Even though it's unverified, I think once you have a certain number of good reviews, that kind of overcomes that, sort of verified, unverified thing. And then, what I do is I follow up with an email sequence, which is really, really important to do, not just using the templates that, the websites that allow you to automate your emails to customers, but really adding value. So asking customers questions and getting them to respond back. Have you received your product? Do you have any questions about it? And then I'll include things like PDFs on how to use the product, how to get the most out of the product. And if there's instructions, I'll add them into PDF. So I try to add value. And that's sort of another, we talk about the the psychological factors that influence purchasing, like social proof. But another psychological factor is called the law of reciprocity. So when you are giving value to somebody, they're more likely to do something in return for you. And so when I send them that email, asking them, how's your experience been? We'd love for you to share it with, with other Amazon customers. Click here. They're more likely to do that if they feel like you're adding value in the email sequence.
Sure. So we're talking about email automation tools here. That's what Liron's just mentioning. This is, tools that will allow you to automatically set up email responses through the Amazon seller messaging system. Is there any things that you can tell us to be aware of, or rules to be careful with as far as those email automation tools?
Yeah, so definitely. So and some things have changed. Some things I've stopped doing that I used to do. So for example, one of the things I used to do, which I think every seller that wants reviews kind of deals with and is frustrating, is you often get seller feedback that that is a like talking about the product. Actually, what I've done in the past is I've messaged those customers and asked them if they can, thank you for leaving us wonderful seller feedback. We'd love for you to leave review on the Amazon page as well. Here's a link where you can do that. I've now stopped doing that actually because Amazon can say that you're selecting the customers you want to leave your review, right? You're only asking those five-star seller feedback customers, and you're selecting. So Amazon's been sort of cracking down on review manipulation very heavily lately. I don't really consider that review manipulation because I think the customer already sort of gave me a good review, but they don't know where to put it. They put it under seller feedback because Amazon sends an email requesting for seller feedback. So, but I've stopped doing that. So that's one thing I'd probably caution people, depending on how conservative or aggressive you are. But I've heard Amazon sort of going after people for that, for selecting your reviewer. The other thing you want to make sure you don't do is you don't ask the customer to leave a positive review in your email. You can just say, we hope you've had a good experience with the product. We'd love for you to share your feedback, or we'd love for you to leave a review. On the Amazon page, I tend to use the word feedback more than review, just because it's probably less likely to sort of raise a flag with any bots scanning, what's in the emails. And so I wouldn't try to direct the customer to only leave, a positive review. So what I do in my autoresponder emails is I say something like, if you have had any questions, or if you're not satisfied or with the product at all, please contact us. And then say something like, if you would like to share your experience with other Amazon customers, please leave us feedback. And then I link them to an Amazon review. So my goal is to hopefully try to first, if they do have an issue, that they would contact me and not just leave a negative review right away. But without really just telling them, like, if you're unhappy, contact us, and if you're happy, leave a review, because that seems to be something that Amazon's also going after now. So you just have to be kind of careful in how aggressive your language is in your follow-up emails.
All right. Yes. So Andy, in the past, a lot of times you would see a new listing all of a sudden get 50, 100, 150, maybe even more product reviews in a matter of just a couple of days sometimes, or even in a couple of weeks. Those days are kind of gone, right? Most of the time, we're not going to see a huge influx of unverified reviews, just because it's either likely to raise a red flag, or most people just know that that's not allowed. However, again, most people are wondering, how do I generate some of those first initial reviews? Because those are the tough ones, right? What are some things that, some strategies that people are using?
Sure. So I just want to reiterate again that I think the three of us like the change that Amazon made. So we're very happy with it. We think they should have made it a long time ago. We think that it provides a better buyer customer experience, a more truthful platform. And actually, I think it levels the playing field. You got some sellers on Amazon that are $100 million sellers, and they could basically, in the past, crush smaller sellers that were coming in by, like you just said, generating 300, 400 reviews in 1 month by giving away a ton of product. And so with the change, it definitely is helpful. And some of the ways that different sellers do it now. And again, you have to be careful when you do this, but some sellers will reach out to friends and ask them if they could ask their friends to buy the product. And so, again, you want to read over Amazon's TOS. But initially, your goal when you bring a new product, right, to the Amazon marketplace is you want to try to get between 8 and 12 reviews. That's kind of the sweet spot. And if you can get between 8 and 12 verified reviews, that's going to give your listing a lot of social proof, and it's going to help drive those organic sales. And so, so some sellers will reach out to their friends, ask them, show them the product and say, hey, if you have any friends that, might be interested in something like this, could you do me a favor, ask them to buy it and leave a honest review. So that's one way you can do it.
Okay, and so those friends of a friend, or however you're trying to get those people to buy your product, you're not telling them that they're going to get a discount in exchange for a review. You're basically just kind of reaching out to your network, those people that trying to jumpstart your listing, right? That's what it's all about. Because when you first bring a product to the Amazon marketplace, it's just not visible in search, right? Or there's no social proof like we've been talking about. It's a plain listing, 0 stars, no reviews. Customer goes to that page and they're just not sure, right? They don't feel confident to buy. So this is why, like you said, some people will reach out to a friend or a friend of a friend because they just want that initial social proof. They want something that's going to jumpstart their listing, right?
Yeah, and let's talk about too. We haven't really mentioned this, and no one really knows for sure, but reviews do again play a huge role in the Amazon sales platform. And so there are some theories that actually reviews also could possibly be indexed in Amazon's A9 algorithm, and it might help actually push your product, toward that first or second page of search. And so that's another reason why, as a private label seller, getting reviews for your products is very important. And then I'll also add this: when someone does leave a review on your product, it's generally a good idea. You can actually comment on those reviews. Or if somebody asks a question on your product, now this isn't a review, but you can get buyers that ask questions. As a seller, you want to answer those questions as thoroughly as possible, including as much detailed information as possible regarding your product. Again, no one knows for sure if those terms are going to get indexed or if it's going to help, but there are definitely guesses and theories that they do.
Okay, yeah, that's good information. And on that topic, Liron, I know this is something that you talk about a lot. You talk about how to improve your bestseller rank for a private label product because it's so important. But there's kind of a lot of misinformation out there. In the past, people thought that the more reviews you had, basically the better your bestseller rank is. We know that's not really the case. So can you kind of clear up for a little bit? Reviews don't necessarily improve your rank, but sales do that. Can you kind of just piece that all together for us for a new seller?
Sure. So the Amazon A9 algorithm basically looks at several factors. And one of those factors is your conversion rate as compared to your competitors' conversion rate for your product. So if 1 out of every 10 customers is coming to your listing and buying, and your competitor has only 1 out of every 15 customers buying, then your conversion rate is better. So Amazon is going to say, well, your product is more relevant based on whatever keyword that customer put in. Your product is more relevant because more people are buying your product than your competitor, which is why some people think that even a lower price helps in terms of conversions, but might even be in the A9 algorithm in terms of putting your listing further up ahead. So all the factors that are going to so we know that conversions and your daily sales velocity impact your ranking because Amazon is making more money when you're selling more units than other people, and it also means a better customer experience when if 10% of people are buying when they click on your listing, it means you're more relevant than if somebody else has a 5% conversion rate.
And when we talk about ranking, we're not just talking about the bestseller rank. We're talking about how you rank for a particular search term or a keyword that a customer searches for on the Amazon page, correct?
Yes, exactly. So there are all these other factors that don't necessarily impact your ranking, right? Where you show up on the page for a specific keyword, but they are influencers. They're like indirect. So, for example, reviews would be one of those major factors. So, if you have, 3.5 stars versus somebody who's got 5 stars, they're probably converting a lot more customers or shoppers into buyers because they have really strong reviews. Other people really like the product. The amount of reviews, I think, makes a difference too. I think it's been shown that once you get over that 10 review count, your conversion rate significantly, improves. But at the same time, you have to look at your competition, and that's one of the things that we really talk about in terms of evaluating potential private label products. You don't want to be, if you're a new product, you don't want to be surrounded by, 5 other sellers that all have 1,000 reviews, right? Because that social proof is not just the stars; it's also the quantity of reviews. So, if I'm looking at two products and they're both about the same price within a couple dollars each, let's say, and one has 1,000 5-star reviews and one has 10 5-star reviews. Human nature psychology says I'm going to buy the one with 1,000 because it's what everybody else is doing, right? It seems like, right, a lot more people are buying that product because there are a lot more reviews. So those are the factors that influence conversion. So you want to have good reviews, and you want to try to keep building additional reviews on a consistent basis, and try to get your review percentage up by having good follow-up sequence, running lightning deals, and just getting traffic to your listing, getting that sales velocity, so that you can continue bringing in reviews. And that's one of the biggest things you could do to sort of um, defend against competitors, right? If you're building reviews faster than your competition, then ultimately you're going to have that social proof factor when customers are looking at your product versus somebody else, and you might even be able to charge a higher price at the same time.
All right, yeah, for sure. So, I mean, reviews is a super important topic, right? It's something that we all private label sellers have to be aware of. It's something that's really important to private label success. And really, there's a lot of information that's out there, right? It can be kind of complicated. So I think it's good to talk about this, to get as much information as you can. And I think we covered a lot here already. Liran, can you kind of just summarize for us what we already covered and what's the most important pieces of information that we just really should be aware of as we start getting our private label products ranked, or as we try to improve our current private label listings?
Sure. So we spoke about taking a few different strategies and steps in order to build up your initial reviews. So, for example, Andy spoke about family and friends, or even friends and friends, right? Reaching out to your network of people that you know, to or the people that they know, to ask them to buy your product, and provide feedback if they could. You're not giving them a discount in exchange for a review. So that's one option, or one way to do it. Another way is doing discount giveaways and just not asking for reviews or requiring reviews. But we know that we've seen a higher review percentage rate. And then just following up with good email sequences, offering value, PPC. You can lower your price. You can do lightning deals. So there's all these sort of different things that when they're all done together, and when you're really building up traffic to your listing, then you're going to get those initial reviews that you really need to start getting some traction.
Awesome. Well, I think that gives us a good foundational look at Amazon product reviews. It is definitely a topic that you want to keep up on, that we all want to, and that Amazon has been making changes to more frequently as they continually look for the best way to handle sellers and how they interact with product reviews. Andy and Liran, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us today. But hey, the bottom line is that building a private label brand still has huge potential, right? And it is what we continue to do every day in our own businesses. And hopefully, everyone that's listening, it's what you continually are doing as well. But don't forget, if you are looking for an awesome way to get started with private label, go to amazingfreedom.com and check out our brand new free course called the Smart Private Label Course. Just go to the website. You'll see a button there that allows you to sign up for that. There's really some valuable and helpful content in there, and you definitely want to at least just check it out. And do you have questions that you would like answered on the show? Visit amazingfreedom.com/ask to leave a question for us. You can also check out our past episodes at amazingfreedom.com and make sure you subscribe to catch the latest episodes from us. Thanks for listening today, and we'll be back next time on the Amazon Seller Podcast.
You've been listening to the Amazon Seller Podcast. Make sure to subscribe and join us next time for another look at how to dominate the Amazon marketplace.